Guruve Gaur Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My Dandavat Pranam devotees, first of all, praying for the causeless mercy of my Shri Guru Parapadma Nitya Lila Praveshtam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa, Astotara Satasisi Machula Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, also onto our Rupanuga Guru Varga, onto the Lord Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari, and also onto our worshipful objective, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Yugal. Also today is Gopastami. Also it is the Tirobhav Tithi, I believe, of Gadadhar Das, also Dhananjaya Pandit, and Srinivasacharya. So praying for all of their causeless mercy also, continuing in our Kartik Niyama Seva, and continue with my seva of doing questions and answers. So I'm running behind definitively. Because I'm in part scheduled for cooking the offering and everything, which I've started all the prep for that. So, but I'm answering a question that came in 2 days ago, actually. And there are some other questions, and I promised that I'm going to get to those questions as well. This question was from a group, and I've also promised, and I'll honor that I'm keeping the group anonymous and everything. A very sweet group of devotees, small group, but nonetheless they make very serious inquiries and have done so over the course of the period of time that I've been doing these question and answer sessions. So that's one thing, I will honor that you requested that we simply keep everything anonymous and personal. And secondly, I think I answered part of the question directly back to Prabhuji, and so he can share that with the group. The other question, which I put in the tag of the post here, does the constitutionality of the dasitva of the jiva axiomatically, automatically indicate a relationship of love? So it's a very nuanced situation, a very nuanced answer to the question, because certainly, and I'm going to give a example which I think best illustrates what I would try to say in so many words. If you have a mother who has given birth to a child, and at the time of giving birth, in the hospital or at home, whichever situation is there when the mother gives birth, under normal circumstances, and under a general idea of mother and child relations, the mother certainly will have so much love and affection for that child. Now, circumstantially, however, if that child is taken away from the mother at that time and raised by a different set of parents or a different situation, then though the mother has a natural affection for that child, the child's love and affection for the mother has to be developed by first coming to understand that the situation I was raised in is not my original parental arrangement, first of all. Secondly, there'll have to be a ability to connect with, understand, develop a relationship with the actual parent or the actual mother. So there are various elements that would go into making the love that the mother has a requited or reciprocal love with the child. The mother certainly loves the child. So in the same way, Mamam Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhukta Shanatana. Krishna has told in Bhagavad Gita that all the jivas are my parts and parcels. And certainly we know from so many also verses like Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manushinam Dehinam Astita, right? That Bhagavan has love and affection for his parts and parcels. The question always here is whether or not the jivas who are under the influence of the external energy, whether they can reciprocate that love or not. So certainly, as I've mentioned in unlimited explanations, definitely there is the potentiality of reciprocating that love because there's already a established constitutional, so to speak, for lack of a better word, constitutional relationship of this is my mother. So it's very easy once the discovery of that fact is made, the development of reaching out and contacting that parent, etc., certainly love can develop in their heart, even through the process. But in the absence of that knowledge and in the absence of any process to unfold that knowledge into an actual relationship, we can't say that that child, while in the influence of the absence of knowledge about their mother, the actual biological mother, has love for them. Because they don't know. How can you have love for a situation that you're completely unacquainted with? And once you come to know first that the parental arrangement I'm currently in, or institutional arrangement, if it's an institutional arrangement for your being raised, that's not my real, organic, original, biological arrangement, that's one phase of knowledge. A second phase of knowledge is then the discovery of, well, who is my biological mother? And over the course of that discovery, certainly many emotions start to rise, and then finally there may be phone contact or something which will stimulate a deeper sense of love, and then finally a meeting, and then maybe a full blossoming of love. So in the very same way, the jiva has a constitutional relationship with Bhagavan. Jiversu Hoye Krishna Nitya Das. Also, Paramatma Seshita Subhav. Jiva Goswami is mentioned in Paramatma Sandarbha among the 21 qualities. One quality is that the jivas are Seshitva. The word Seshya means it means the same thing as Dasitva essentially. It means that who is worshipable and who is the worshipper. So Bhagavan is that which is worshipable, and the jivas are meant to worship Bhagavan. So there is an organic constitutional relationship of the jiva with Bhagavan. But in the anadi absence of knowledge of that relationship, it cannot be said that love is therefore present in the conditioned jiva. Certainly, the constitutionality and the capacity for love based on understanding that constitutionality and acting on the revelation of that constitutional relationship can certainly bring about love. But the love is not, let's say, existing in the absence of that knowledge and so forth and so on. But certainly the love on behalf of Bhagavan to the jiva is there. Because the Bhagavan is not an illusion that these are my parts and parcels. But we are an illusion that we are the parts and parcels of Bhagavan due to the feature of ahamkar. We're thinking we're independent Ishwars ourselves. You understand? So this is just a short analogy to try to give insight into the idea that constitutionality in relation to Bhagavan does not necessarily constitute love, so to speak. Especially when we're talking about reciprocal loving relationships. That's why the process of bhakti by the mercy of God is given. Krishna gives. Anugrahaya bhaktinam manushinam deinam astita. Tattva tatrasi bhajate kritva yatshutva tatparobhavet. He's mentioned, definitely is it very important that I will come and perform so many leelas in this world. And when the jivas will hear about those leelas, they will then develop bhakti towards me. And in this way, by development of bhakti towards me, that bhakti shakti itself will reveal our relationship of love. So it is not simply a matter of, for instance, I simply know now that the foster parents or the institutional arrangement I was raised in is not my original biological connection, right? So that's one level of understanding. So among many who have sojourned in the material energy, their first realization will be that I'm not the body and I'm not part of the material world. This still does not give rise to a reciprocal love with Bhagavan. It gives rise to a freedom from suffering in the material world and expresses itself as Atma Ananda. Then there may be an understanding of the universality of the energy of Bhagavan and a desire not to necessarily develop a loving relationship with Bhagavan, but to enhance one's own bliss by becoming merged with that universal principle of bliss. So this is called Brahmananda, right? So in this way, there are various levels of unfoldment where self-interest becomes less prominent. And the more self-interest is diminished or put aside, then more naturally the ability to reciprocate in pure love, anya abhilasita sunya, jnana karma dhyanavitam anukulyena krishnanusilanam bhaktirutam, that one can approach bhakti and gradually come to the point of this pure definition of bhakti, both in understanding and in action. At that time, there's the ability of the pure reciprocal love and affection from the jiva back to Bhagavan, who's reciprocating love with the jiva. And of course, there is a speciality in the kind of pure love which is manifest in Sri Brajadam. I've done an earlier post based on a question that was asked, explaining the unique gift of that particular type of high-class love that is present in the Ragatmik Jan of Braj. And to follow in the wake of those Ragatmik Jan, to acquire that kind of love for Bhagavan is called Rag Anuga Bhakti. Right? So hopefully this example and this discussion has given in very brief a understanding of constitutionality of the jiva's relationship with Bhagavan versus actually reciprocated love with Bhagavan. All right, my Dandavad Pranam. There may be many questions here because obviously this is very much in brief. As I mentioned, I'm multitasking here to some degree. So I will beg that, again, any senior devotees can also add to the description here, discussion here. And also if there's any questions regarding that or any things that, may run to the opposite spectrum, that, no, well, let me show how it could be, then I'm always availing myself, to understand and to grow. This is the purpose of bhakti and the purpose of samvad, which means discussions which lead to reconciled understandings which lead to growth. Of course, I've already expressed previously a lack of desire to be involved in any sort of jalpa or vitanda discussions in which, just a intellectual gymnastics or demonstrations of erudition are prominent, as opposed to looking for the reconciled outcome, or especially those arguments in which there's a lot of vitriol and party spirit and so forth and so on, which simply lead to the desire to win at all costs. This is called vitanda. So, but I'm very happy in discussion, even on this subject matter, which I've kind of put to rest in general, with devotees, when it has the kind of civility and the spirit of reconciliation that I've experienced from Prabhuji and your group. So, my Dandavat Pranam again. And Vanchakalputrubhishcha Kripa Shinduvevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.